Welcome, data people. We are Zuma. My name is Matt, and this is Data for Good. This podcast is brought to you by Zuma. Zuma is a dedicated recruitment company for senior data, insights, and analytics professionals, connecting you with Berlin's most influential companies. The Data for Good podcast is for the world of data analytics and engineering, giving you access to the thoughts and opinions of Berlin's most successful data people. Today, we are joined by Manik Garg, Business Intelligence Lead at Delivery Hero. So I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be a great episode. Manik will inform us about marketing analytics. Manik, welcome. How are you?
Hey, Matt, I'm good.
Fantastic. And how was the weekend?
Yeah, it was quite nice, like a sunny weekend in Berlin.
The weather's been quite indifferent recently.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Perfect. So let's talk analytics. So this is an area that you have a huge passion for. So tell us, how did you first get into analytics?
Sure. So I started my career in operations in India, and 7 years back, I moved to Germany for my Erasmus. So I was doing my MBA, and I came here for finance. And there I was exposed to tools like R and MATLAB, since we were doing like a lot of things in econometrics. And there I start developing my interest in the analytics. And that's the reason also I did my thesis in the sentiment analysis. So I was using like R packages to get the tweets to see what is the price of Ethereum, which is funny. Like I did it 7 years back, and looking back like 2 years back, I was wondering like if I can use that thing in the practical scenario, I would have made a lot of money on that. After that, like when I was start looking for jobs in analytics, I realized like the SQL and Tableau is the thing that you need for each and every BI or data science job. So I did some like a crash course on Tableau and SQL, and I landed my first job in the boutique firm for BI, which was implementing Tableau solutions across big and smaller companies. After working for a couple of years with them, I moved to more like as an in-house BI in a fintech called Raisin. And there I was mostly working with customer analytics and marketing analytics. And that's where I developed my interest in the marketing analytics. And yeah, from there, like it was a journey, like I start like developing more into the senior role. And now I'm like working with the Delivery Hero as a BI lead. So I have a bunch of analysts who are helping me to provide the analytic solution to our team.
Amazing. So you're very much focused within marketing analytics and have done for the past few years. For those who don't know, what is marketing analytics and how does it differ to the analytics teams in other departments?
Sure. So even in the marketing analytics, I will focus more on the customer analytics to be more precise or more so that it's easier for people to connect. So basically, we use the customer information or behavior to identify the best or most profitable customers. So we can either retain the current customer base, or we can attract the new customer who we feel might be a high value. And how the organization do it. So you can understand a company collect a lot of data regarding the customer. So when you register on a platform, you give your demographic data. So your age, your gender, the place where you are located in. Then over time, when you have more transactions with the platform or with the app or with the website, you give your purchasing history. So there is a framework called RFM, which is like recency, frequency, and monetary. So recency is like when was the last time you bought something on the platform. Frequency is how often do you come on the platform and buy stuff. And monetary is basically how much money you have spent over time on the platform. Then apart from the demographic and purchasing activity, there are things like website or social media activity, so which is also called like product data. So how do you interact with the website? Which things do you click? Which thing do you open? How much time do you spend on the app? Which feature of the app do you use more? Then there are things like contact center interaction. So do you have to open a ticket with the customer care because of loss of your package? or defective stuff, or the service that you didn't like, or there is a bug in the app. Then the last layer is basically survey. So when we need to understand more on how customers are enjoying or how customers are liking our platform, we usually send them some surveys, and then we use that as an NPS score to understand what exactly is customer enjoying or what exactly we can improve to make our customer satisfied. So we can use this data, and using this data, we try to come up with the best products or best services for the customers.
Amazing. So tell us more about NPS and how you, how would we use NPS scores to, and the data that we receive from that to really improve the product that we're offering our customers?
Sure. So usually, like, there are like different ways how we can collect the NPS data from a customer. So I can take example of delivery companies, since I'm working currently with a delivery company. When a food is delivered to you or when a good is delivered to you, we usually have a pop-up to a customer to say, like, out of 5 or out of 3, how do they rate certain things, like how the food quality was, how the delivery quality was, or if there are any other thing that we want to know. Then there are like some surveys which we do to investigate something. So let's say we saw there is a drop in a customer frequency in a given region. Then to investigate that, we create like a ad hoc survey to the customers, and there we really want to understand like what is basically happened, and we want to change it. Then the third kind of survey is, let's say we are launching new product or new service, and this could be also in-house survey where we are inviting the people for a small group and then trying to understand like if this service or this product will be something that they are happy to use. uh, so these 3 different surveys can be used for different things. So first one is basically uh, it's uh, it's rating our service or it's rating our product, and there we can understand like, okay, if there is a drop in customer, if it's a drop in something, is it because the customer is not satisfied with the service? And here, like, we have a quantitative data and also a qualitative data. So we have some number like 0 and 1, or -1 to 1, which is like NPS score, but we also give the option to give some comments. And these are the things that help us to understand better. Like, some people mention, hey, like, the food was cold when it was delivered, which is very hard to gauge from the 0 and 1.
Yeah.
So this is something we use the NPS or surveys for.
How would you put statements such as the food is cold into a figure so that it can be analyzed?
Sure. So let's say when you order a food, we know like not 100% of the customer will rate on the app. We have like 15 to 20% at max, at best, that we get the survey. Let's say 100 people ordered, or like 1,000 people ordered. Out of that, 15% is 150 people rated on that. In that, like, if we want to understand which customers were not satisfied with our platform, we don't look at the positive one, we look at the negative ones. So let's say out of 150, 50 people give us like negative points or less than 0. So among those 50 people, now we, out of 1,000 people, we have a uh, good population to analyze. So we have 50 people, and out of 50 people also, not all of them will give the comment. So out of 50, we will have like 20 people which are commenting, giving the comment like food is cold or food is hot, or it was spilled, or the quantity is small. Now when we have like these 20 people, it's easy to analyze. We can either use some packages from, like, where we can get all the text highlighted. So it's something called word cloud, where it takes all the text, and then it will give you as a bubble cloud where you can see the biggest thing. So if you see cold big, then you can understand, okay, the thing was cold. Or stolen something, then we can say, okay, the food is getting stolen in certain area. Or there are also packages which try to make give a context of all the comments. So you can use all these 20 comments and combine them and get a gist of it. So there are like some open source tool from Google or from even from Amazon, which you don't have to then manually look at each and every comment, but it can give you gist of everything. Like, let's say there are 5 people who are saying cold, then Gist will have like the most uh, common thing that the customer struggle was with the cold food. But there were also some customers who saw the food was being lost.
Got you. So there's tools to, well, it sounds like there's tools to support you to take the manual work of reading through all these comments, and they will predict what the kind of topic of the comments is.
Exactly. So in the beginning, usually we start with manually, but when we have to scale it up, we use like this more like a automated tool or machine learning tool to get the gist of all the comments. And then over time, we also, when we identify certain topic is being covered again and again, we also then can change our survey. So to add like if the food was cold or not, instead of uh, waiting for customer to add as a comment, we can also then over time change our response to improve this service.
Okay. And so improving service sounds like we prevent churn. And how do we use specific data to further prevent churn?
Sure. So how basically like in order to prevent churn, we need to first understand like how do we define the churn. So churning like basically would be, let's say we have a big customer base in August, or and then when we move to September, we see the even though we acquired many customers, but our overall customer base have decreased. Uh, that means the customer that we were expecting to return every month are not returning. That's basically they are either leaving the platform or they are not returning as frequent as we want them to return. And then potentially they can even leave the platform. Either they won't use the service or they will join the competitor.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, the in order to prevent the churn, first we need to identify which customers are the highest potential of being churned. So you can either look at how, so we can again use the same thing of RFM that I mentioned before, like how was the change in the frequency of the customer. So let's say we had a certain customer base which were coming 3 times a month before, and now they're coming only 2 times a month. So there is a potential drop in the frequency which can eventually lead to zero. Then we have initially customers were coming after every 2 months to the platform, and now the customers are coming after every 3 months. So their recency has increased. So they are not coming back very often. Uh, then once we have a target customer base, let's say we are looking at the customers who haven't come back for last 6 months, or their frequency have been decreasing steadily, like from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, and eventually we are thinking they will be zero. We come up to understand how can we, what exactly do they look in the platform. So is it like a certain product? So let's say at Amazon we know certain customers only buy coffee pods, or they buy just
Mm-hmm.
small products which are less than 50, between 0 to 50, because they are afraid like if it's above, it can be either stolen or gone, or they don't want to buy a big item because they want to go to the store and feel and buy it, but they
Mm-hmm.
usually prefer our platform to buy something between 0 and 50. And when we identify like these kind of customers, we try to send them some pop-ups. So we work with CRM team or product team and send them on the mobile app like, hey, like this is something we know you will like it, and if you buy it, then we can also give you either free delivery, or we can give you like some discount, or if you buy three this month, we can give you the fourth one for free. So we try to understand first like what kind of discounts we can use or what kind of marketing levers we can pull to attract that customer. So some customers are always organic, they don't want to get any discount, they just buy because it's convenient. Some customers are being attracted by free gifts or free deliveries or 1+1 or 50% discount. So for them we have like a catered discount. But for the organic ones, then we need to further deep dive to understand what encourage them to buy on the platform. And this is here we can also go into the NPS data or survey data to understand if there is in the future, in the past, if they had some problem with the contact rate, let's say they had some trouble with the app, or they had some trouble with the lost package, or they had some trouble with the customer care. And since now we have narrowed down the customer base so much, it's easy uh, it's easy to understand what was the specific problem with a given customer. So let's say we identified out of 1,000 customers who are churning, 50 customers who are organic out of that, and among 50, 20 of them lost their packages. So basically, we know like when we are working at this scale, we can always reactivate them. So we say like, hey, we understand like you lost your package, and we are giving you the money. Like, of course, we return the money, but we are also giving you some same thing again for free as a company. And we try to reactivate them using that. So we try to earn their trust back, because at the end, the cost of package is nothing comparative to the CLTV, which is the customer lifetime value, which the customer can bring to the platform over time. So yeah, like once we understand like different customer segments, we try to, instead of going for a blanket strategy, because if you are an organic customer, a customer who is never being excited about the discounts or free gifts or free delivery, you won't be happy if you say like, hey, for next delivery you will get 50 plus 50% off, because that's like a waste of strategy. And that's also, if you're a customer who is troubled by the customer care, and now we are giving you 50%, it will even further can churn you more. You say like, hey, like you're not solving the basic problem, but you're just throwing money on the other things, which was not even a need. So instead of going for a blanket strategy, we try to segment the customer base into 6 or 7 categories, and then using our CRM or some campaigns or some products, we try to bring them back to the platform.
Amazing. And are these human decisions or AI prediction models?
So it depends on the use case. So in the long term, like, I mean, at the end, the goal is to make it like as automated as possible. So you can also use something called k-means or like some segmentation to already segment your customer base. So instead of doing this exercise manually, you can already have the customers who are like loyal, or customer who are like a deal seeker, or the customer who are like high value. And you can use the data that I discussed initially, like demographic, purchasing history, contact center. And once you have like 15 to 20 different attributes around your customer, it's very hard to do it manually, because let's say a customer have some problem with the logistics, but then the customer is also high value. So where will you put it? Like a customer with high value, or with customer who need problem with logistics? So usually we use something called segmentation, where they use like this 15 to 20 attributes of a customer, and then segment those customers into one of the 4 or 5 categories. So once you have used these 4 or 5 categories, then you can use something called persona, where you're using different attributes of a whole group to come up with one persona. So let's say you have 100,000 customers, and you divided them using machine learning, like k-means segmentation, into 5 categories. Let's say category A, B, C, D, E. Now you can put some attributes on a category. So we can say customer with attribute E usually are the deal seekers, or customer with attribute A are very high value customers. So we need to make sure that they are not lost. Or customer with category B always struggle with the logistics. So maybe they are living in some areas where we don't have that level of service or that level of SLAs. So over time, like it should be automated, but initially there are some EDA or data exploration that need to be done to come up with these logics.
And to facilitate all this, we need a good data structure, a good data quality. And I know that we've spoken previously, and your thoughts around democratizing data to enable this. So for those who don't know, what is it in simple terms to democratize data?
Sure. So It basically means like all the stakeholder in a given organization can access the corporate data. So the all the data that I discuss, in addition to other data, it should be available to the everyone who's working with me in the organization. But to me, like it goes even further. Like I also, that's why I always add data literacy, that it's one thing to make the data available to everyone, but it's another thing that to make sure that they use this data for their analysis, for insight, and their day-to-day decision making.
Mm.
So I always see as a two-step. One is to make sure that we make them like, so first step is basically that we have like a good quality data. So all the KPIs are aligned, the definitions are like how we want to define. But once the data we have maintained that given level of data quality, uh, we are able to provide this data to everyone in the team. Like, so either like we can use different self-service tool like Tableau or Looker for that.
Mm.
But once these data is available to everyone, we also have to make sure that we provide them proper trainings or proper uh, data dictionary, or like some use cases how to use the data. So I can also use example from my last company where we were using Looker.
Mm-hmm.
So we had like a good data layer, uh, and some dashboards on how to use the data. But beyond that, our BI team was not providing like operational data to anyone in the company. So what we were doing is we start like gamifying the whole thing. So we everyone who joins the company need to go through like 2 to 3 hours of training on how
Mm-hmm.
to use the data, and over time we start giving them belts. So like white belt is the beginner, black belt is the data expert, like red belt. And we also created some Slack channels where only red belts can join, so you have more motive to learn or pass certain level. And in these channels we ask people to ask questions, and it's not the BI team who answers the answer, but it's usually these experts. So we say like if you answer like 10-15 questions in this group, then you will be qualified for the black belt training. So we are basically trying to identify champions in each and every team, because over time, once the organization grows, it's not also easy to scale the self-service tool. So we always need
Mm.
some people who are working inside the business teams, who are like kind of become as a sponsor for our data. So if we know like in our product team, we have two or three people who are using our dashboards or our tables or our tools that we have built for day-to-day purpose, it ensures the other people also start using it.
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. So it sounds like gamification has been a great success to improve your data literacy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. And you mentioned it's about getting buy-in from stakeholders, business stakeholders. How do we go about this?
Sure. So this is also like, it's again go with the same point that I mentioned before, that uh, first, like to get a buy-in from the stakeholder, we need to earn the trust of them. So it's easy to say like we'll build like a high quality data or high quality self-service tool, but the first step is to earn the trust of the business stakeholder. And usually it doesn't take like sophisticated tools or like a big database or big data to earn this, but it starts with like solving like some small problem, like providing them some operational data or doing small ad hoc analysis even on Excel. So at one point of time I was not a big advocate of Excel, but over time I understood like this is something that resonates very well with the business stakeholder. So if you can provide them like a small business case or small solutions on even on Excel, where then they can change the attributes for their use case over time, that's also already a big jump for them. So I feel like that's already like 90% of the work, and rest
Mm.
10% over time, once you have the buy-in from them, then you can spend more time. Because what I understood is if you spend more than 2 weeks on a given project, they start losing the interest. So unless you are providing them like a small modular deliveries, like some small part where they're engaged over time,
Mm-hmm.
then we have a better buy-in. But once we say we take like 2 months on a given project, we know we already lost the stakeholders, and then we have to do the whole thing again. So I always say like it's always good to deliver something in 1 week or 2 week modules rather than going big for 2 months and then the stakeholders say, hey, like this is something not what I need.
Got you. So it sounds like the best process is not to bombard them with all these big data projects using all the tools and
Yeah,
overcomplicating things. You
yeah,
start off giving them a taste,
yeah, exactly.
small little operational analysis
Yeah,
that they can see very quickly.
yeah.
They get a taste for data.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, how humans function, once you get a taste and you enjoy it, you want more sophisticated and more complex processes. So it sounds like you've had great success following this process.
Yeah, I mean, I would still say like I'm still on the learning phase. I won't say like I'm the best person to do this, but I'm still learning on this. So over time, I understood that, like I mentioned, like Excel and PowerPoint is the tool that resonate best with the business people. So I now initially when I was spending like a lot of time on my Python or my Jupyter notebooks, I was always excited to show these things to my business stakeholder. But now I understood we should keep this as a black box model where we are not showing what we are doing in the process. I mean, of course, we have to make sure, or we have to make sure that the thing that we are doing is correct, but we shouldn't expose the whole thing to the stakeholder, but we should just show them the result, either in PowerPoint or like like in Amazon, we used to write like docs. So it's just as a written thing so they understand what we are doing. But we shouldn't expose the whole process that we are doing on ETL or on data cleaning or on machine learning because this is something that they are not interested in. So we should just focus on the end result either on PowerPoint or also on the Excel.
So rather than a 2-hour meeting going through all the process and the challenges you went through, a 15-minute catch up with the results is enough to impress the stakeholders, get their trust and get their buy-in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So again, like going back to the example that I mentioned before about the customer segmentation. So if I would be going when I was presenting my segmentation ABCD, if I would be going like the prediction rate of this is A or 99%, if I start talking on the machine learning terms, I doubt anyone would be happy to learn about it. But when I start talking like this is my segment, which on usual spend like 800,000 per year, or this is my segment who 99% of the time will buy only when there is a discount. So when I start talking in the business term, or like this is the segment which mostly come from SEO, or this is the segment which explore all the new products on our platform. So when I start talking in the business terms, it resonates well with them, and they also can provide us more valuable feedback. So they can say, yeah, hey, this makes sense because yeah, like we can understand like this segment lives more in Berlin or in the urban areas, so they are more connected with the platform, or this segment lives in the Bavaria and so they might be more like they can spend more on the given thing. So it's also then provides us more valuable feedback and then we can bring that back to enrich our model also.
So it sounds like we're really emphasizing the communication and almost the storytelling aspects to data and analytics.
Yeah, definitely. So this is also something when someone joins my team or like even for me, uh, I can say, okay, like it's good to learn SQL and Tableau, but storytelling is the tool that anyone in the data should learn because that's something helps you the most over time.
So it's the true understanding of something when you can explain it and explain it simply.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Well, time has flown. It's been a great conversation, Manik. So let's wrap it up with one final question.
Mm-hmm.
How, as a non-data business person, could we become more data literate?
Sure. So I would recommend like if you are already working with Excel or any tool which deals with a number, you're already 90% in with the data literate. You just need to connect with your BI or data team and ask them, I want to do certain thing, and can you help me with this? So a lot of time when people from the business team reach out to us to say like, hey, I need this certain data, I wouldn't be very happy. I say like, I'm not a data tool. But when they say like, I want to do this, which have certain impact on this, then I would be more happy to help the data person or like any business person. So if you can formulate your business problem very well, uh, and then go back to any data team, they can help you very well with the thing. And then over time, once you start consuming this data, you will increase your data literacy.
Amazing. So start small, start simple.
Definitely, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, you've taught us a lot today, and I feel like we could have spoken for a lot longer. These will lead on to a future podcast, and we would love to have you again on a future series, but that is all we have time for today. Thank you very much for your time and your insights, Manik. Been educational for us all, and I think a topic that everyone will want to know more about. To the listeners, as always, drop your questions and feedbacks in the comment section, and we will pick them out to be answered on future pods. And don't forget to share and like so we can get the message out to as many people as possible and attract as many folks to the world of data. But it is bye from us. So thanks once again, Manik.
Thanks, Matt, for your time.
Perfect. And ciao for now.
Ciao.